Yeah, 135th live stream. Congratulations.
Yay!
We hit a number
Hello.
that is like somewhat
A
valuable.
random number that has significance in its own way.
Yeah. Today we got like Alley Claw,
Oh,
Really?
hi, it's me, the person with the claw.
Q Pencil Case,
Hi.
ah, and Princess Fluffy's Eye.
Hi, everyone gets a plushie, so decrees the princess.
Well, will I be expecting it shortly, or what's the turnaround time on this?
You already get a free plushie if you don't already have plushies, and you have plushies.
That's right. We still have that program that no one has taken us up. Two people did the program. All right, so we have 2 pictures so far, and you know the deal or the game, whatever we do here. Send us your horses that you want critiqued, and we will critique said horses and go nay. Hello, Avrexy42. That is now how we pronounce your name.
So says us.
So say we all. So yeah, let's get this started. Close but not quite your name. Spell it out phonically for me. The first one we're gonna do the one on the left by Cree.
Ooh, cool. Okay, let's move.
So it is discuss combining human pose with horse anatomy. Is this on the right track?
It's a confusing looking. Seems like they need an update of art tools. That would be my thing, but that's not really what they ask. So,
Well,
Let's
part of
see.
discussion is not necessarily critique. Like the discuss tag, it's not necessarily a critique tag. It's more of here's some advice for pointing directionality
Yeah.
on
Ooh.
this.
Wait, before anyone draws anything, there's no other layers. I'm gonna make some layers.
Woo! Thank you for being on the ball, unlike me.
So I don't. This looks to me like it was drawn with a mouse and possibly with MS Paint, but I don't know. It could be any program. But I would definitely advise getting something. There are free programs. There are less free programs, but you know there are various good ones, and they all behave differently. So it's worth trying out different drawing programs, and you can find something that can help you draw because it's honestly going to be really hard to draw like this. Now I could see you've done under sketching, but that's the same color as your lines and probably on the same layer. You know, so it's like if you wanted to say make a change to the whole. Let's say we want to rub out the mane. Oh, whoops! We're like rubbing out parts of the face too. You know, because it's all in one layer. But drawing programs give you lots of things that help you draw. Look what CBC is doing here. Under sketch is different from how the color she's using to go over it now. So you can build it up in different layers. You've got nice smooth tools, and they give you so much adaptability. But that's my advice. Just look into drawing programs. They could be the best thing that you ever did. Just have a try out. There are some free ones. So Google free drawing programs like GIMP. I think Medibang is free, isn't it?
Yeah.
Krita. There are lots of ones. There are lots of really cool ones. Anyway, as for posing, so what? This is like sort of pony human anatomy mix, sort of an anthro thing. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what they said in the
Very-
description.
Cool. It's just a little bit hard to discern sort of the anatomy. I think the legs do need a little bit of work, but CPC is doing a really good job of that over there. It's just sort of working out, like, if you were watching what she was doing, you saw she did a very, very rough undersketch just to say this is generally where the body is going. Then she did a sort of more detailed skeleton of, okay, this is where the legs are going to bend and where they're going to fall. And now she's going over and doing more of the shape. So building up that anatomy and sort of the weight and 3D aspect of it. So that's really the best way to be drawing. And you can easily build up something with a bit more depth, whereas what you've got right now ends up very flat because you're limiting yourself in what you can use to draw. And drawing with the mouse, you're not going to get the same flow as you get with the pen. I would even advise go get paper and pencil. You can get them just about anywhere. You can swipe it from your school supply cupboards if you need to, but just find paper and pencil. It should not be hard, and then draw take a photo of it or scan it or whatever you want to do. Get that drawing onto your computer, and then you can use that to draw from, because that would be a whole lot more natural. In fact, that's how I started. I did actually use MS Paint before I used GIMP. Before now, which I use CSP. I did used to use Paint. What I did, I would draw a picture with a pencil. I would scan it in. I would use a different program. I think it might have been Paint.net, but I would use that to basically raise the. Oh no, that's right. I would on MS Paint. I would go through using the curve tools with just solid black and make the outlines. Then on Paint.net, I would or GIMP or whatever I was using, I would increase the contrast super high so that only actual black would stay. So that only the outlines that I drew on MS Paint would stay. And so I'd have just a clean outline and the sketch would disappear. And then I would use a color fill. So even just being a beginner, not having a super load of good programs or a tablet at your disposal, you can still find a way of doing that from a pencil sketch. Anyone else got anything there? That looks really adorable, CPC.
You basically just covered everything I was gonna say.
I'll say as well, the tail looks. I just realized that that's actually you've just labeled the tail, and it's not like a speech bubble. It looked like the sort of when you got a manga, but then it's like a little cut in to say that someone off screen is speaking. But it's. So that's just sort of falls under everything else where you got to sort of think about the flow and shape that everything has, and it does seem like it's going to be really hard, but it's once you get into playing around with stuff, it's really not. And just use traditional tools, use a tablet if you can get your hands on one. You can just expand your array of tools, because then they won't be a limitation and you can do so much more. And go study CPC because her art is adorable and amazing.
Oh, you should also study Zai. His art is also super adorable.
No.
So it does appear as though they're going for longer limbs, longer body. That's a very normal style. All you have to do is basically what CPC has done here. She's just drawn out horse. If you take them and just start stretching the anatomy, you can achieve what it looks like you're going for. Often I suggest stretching the hips out more when you do that, because you're going to end up with this hilariously long leg like this if you don't. But yeah, don't be afraid of your references. The fun part of this human posing stuff, you are a human with a camera phone. You can take these pictures and grab references of anything you want. So use those references. Alright, let's move on to the next one then. Actually, this isn't the next one. The next one I have to paste over all the floof.
Okay, that floofy back and chest. So
I
close
believe I
line.
saw this one in the art channel. This is cool.
Yeah.
I saw it somewhere.
Yes, do it, CPC. It looks so cute.
CPC the Fluff Master.
I approve.
Fluff
Upon
Master.
your actual name.
Yes, that's just a lion.
It's Applejack.
Boss some apples.
That's some apples.
So, Ponyboy.
They say anything you can tell me about the shading or the hair. Going for semi-realistic. The hair is something that I was very confused about myself, because they have a separate ghost hair, or a ghosty creature sitting on their head.
You can talk at this point to us if you want to use your
Yeah,
voice.
you can unmute and speak to us if you'd like.
No, it's more like a... Shit. Give me a second, I'm trying to think of how to explain it. You're saying something like ghostly? Yeah, kind of a little bit. It's more like ethereal.
Yeah, that's the impression I got, was that you can see it's semi-transparent. You can see the real hair behind it, the body, everything moving through it, all the detail. So it's clearly sort of like a ghosty glowing thing. So I was just sort of wondering what that
Yeah.
is.
The same thing goes for the tail, but haven't gotten to that last night.
Okay. They just have sort of like a part of their mane is like ghosty.
Yeah.
It's very creative. I do like what Keephead's case is doing with the muzzle there.
Mm-hmm.
Make
Yeah,
it a lot less Minecraft blocky and more it's round and curved.
Oh, you're talking about that bottom core of the chain.
Yeah, the whole muzzle really. What Keephead's case has done here is much more rounded. And note that if you look at anywhere in the show, it's very rare you'll find just a solid straight line. They are very round, soft, marshmallowy creatures, and they are designed graphically to use rounded curves and not straight lines because of complicated graphically things that I learned in college. It changes the interpretation of how images look to the brain, and curved lines create sort of softness. So that's why they use that in the show. So I always would say avoid using just sharp lines like you had in the chin here, and like the top of the muzzle is very square. Whereas what we've got here is a fair bit more rounded, so it just creates that sort of soft. You just want to grab the nose and boop them.
So if I can do some critique here, well, one question with your mane, is it emitting light or is it more like Jello, where it's just sort of bright?
It's emitting. It's glowing.
Okay, are you gonna apply that light to everything hanging around here?
Yeah, I haven't gotten to that yet.
Okay. In that case, if you just haven't got to it yet, the question about your shading. So we see some nice. Oh, let me go brighter. We got this dark value hanging around here. That's going to be some of your darkest values you're going to get as far as difference between your midtones, your brights, and then your darks. But you got to carry that through the rest of the picture. So any place where you are going to have close to no light, that's got to be carried over. So it looks like you've carried that over to here, but nowhere else on the face or head has that type of value.
I don't mean to cut you off, but the voice chat's a little bit behind the screen, so I'm confused as to what.
Yes, you'll see it in a minute on the stream. Apologies.
You'll get there. We swear.
That's one of the difficulties of being in the actual voice chat.
Which one, the arrows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So what he's saying is you have a really sharp contrast of shadows there, but that's not really repeated anywhere else very strongly, and so you want to make sure there's consistency with that.
So if you take this, grayscale the entire thing, you'll see that contrast. And if the contrast doesn't seem to match between the face and the hair, you got some work to do. If you go look at, say, View, when he does coloring, he'll actually do the opposite of what you're doing. He'll set his values first by coloring everything in a grayscale, and then he overlays color on top of said grayscale.
Right, I've seen people do that before.
About the shading in the hair in terms of detail, so you've clearly gone for something that shows a lot of the sort of individual strands, which is really cool. You did say you're going for a semi-realistic, but it does look a little bit too scribbly in some places, I think. Around, if I just grab the latest one, around here is really cool because it's very smooth. Whereas like around here you can see it's quite rushed, and you've got the back and forthy scribbles, and that's very noticeable. I personally don't have much experience on semi-realistic painting though, but I know Keephead's case here has done a little bit of study in how to make like hair in digital painting. I don't know if you have anything to say about it, CPC?
Yeah. So you want to first divide the hair in bigger strands, and only after that you want to go and do the smaller. So let's start with a slightly bigger brush and do something like divide it up.
I actually got a nice little tutorial. I'll check into the voice chat.
Ooh, please do.
But it very much breaks down what CPC is saying is that a lot of the time less is more, and when you first think of dividing hair into chunks, because as you're looking at hair, you don't see each individual strand. Say someone has curly hair, you see the curls first before you see each individual strand.
Yeah, so you can imply detail.
Anything. Yeah. And even for realistic or semi-realistic, less is still more. unless you're going for like hyper realism, which is like
Uh, no. I mean, I was following along with the tutorial, but it's such a 360. He used his Photoshop as well.
Mm-hmm. I don't really have anything to say personally about it, though. Any of you guys?
Nope.
Do you have any other questions for us?
Are those highlights on the eye a little too sharp?
Yeah, I'd say they are. They have a very sharply defined edge, so they're not. I mean, yeah, reflections can, but they also are just solid white, so they really don't. I mean, I think for these smaller specks, those look good, but the bigger ones, I think you could stand to make those a little bit less transparent and or blur the edge a little bit. Just sort of play around with those. I do like the sort of mess of the shapes there, but they do stand out a bit too much. Whereas I'd say leave the smaller specks alone, because those look like they could easily be sort of like a sharp reflection. Maybe just play a little bit more with the big overall.
A nice balance between sharp edges and blending, especially in light reflection. And you're also reflecting light on a curved surface, which is where a lot of the blur comes from.
CPC, are you wanting me to do shading, like a lighter shading in the area underneath the eye? Is what you're doing there?
Yeah, just adding a bit of cheek to the pony. But I'm struggling with this program. I can't blend.
It's difficult to draw with here.
Yeah, just instead of just having like the whole surface, because you didn't have any shading there, just had a little bit of light, because cheek would be a little further out than the rest of the face in that area.
Alright. Would you mind if I ask one more question?
Yeah, go ahead.
How about the shading over there on the actual vest and shirt?
Sorry?
The vest and the shirt. Do you see anything wrong with it?
Only that the shading is a bit lighter than it is on the body, so it's a lot less noticeable.
Yeah, you could really stand to push your shading, shadows and highlights.
What we see here is there's a lot of you've got a lot of shape defined in the shirt from the outlines and everything. So what I personally, if I can actually make this work, so take that shade, make it a little bit darker. Looking at where the light source is, it's coming sort of from the back side here. Is that right? I would just maybe a little bit darker still. We can. Oh, do I have a softer pencil? Let's see. This program is weird. Okay, there we go. Just sort of take this shape that you got here, use a mix of sort of harsher bits and more gentle, softer shading, and just really build up this shadow here to just define that shape a little bit better. You don't even need the outlines, so to speak. You can just use the shading to build up that shape. And of course, as you go, so this part here can be a little bit softer, like here's a bit more where it blends in, and then go in with an even darker color and say, okay, here's where we're going to darken the shading on this side where the shadows really fall. What's sorry?
I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought.
That's all right.
Okay, that's what you're doing. Oh, the stream finally caught out.
Yeah. So push those darks, use the shading to define the shape, and just try and get a consistent level of values across the image.
Yeah.
When you were saying the outlines, you were talking about the black lines that I've got all over the place.
Yeah, just like we'll keep Case's lining, or you'll see in a few seconds. Just these bits where you've drawn sort of the shape of the shirt. You can keep those, but I mean, what I was saying was you don't essentially need them if you use the shading to build that up. But have a play around. You can make them stronger. You could try getting rid of them. You could leave them as they are. Whatever you find works. But just like have a play with the shading, because a lot of the time, the shape of something you start building it with the drawing and the anatomy, but that can only take you so far. And then a lot of the time you build up the shape and weight of things with the shading, and that really adds a lot of the depth.
Right. A lot of people like it when I keep the lines on. That's why I kept it there.
Yeah. That's absolutely fine. That's good.
Another thing I think could help, just bringing everything together in the end, is just adding some, I think they're called drop shadows, like under the tie and under the
So
wing.
under the wing.
Absolutely.
I was
yeah.
thinking about the wing. Oh yeah, yeah.
Thing. And these things probably also have a shadow over here somewhere. Like
Yeah.
things like that, even the hair, everything.
It
Mm.
helps emphasize the depth and make things feel less flat.
By the way, I found out your timing. It's every 2 minutes something happens after you said something.
Really? 2 minutes? Wow.
Dang!
It's like 15 seconds at best, I think.
Yeah, for me it's.
Not on my end.
I mean, when I streamed, I sort of timed when I do things, and I think at best it's like 15 seconds, but 2 minutes is. One time I remember having my stream so bad it was sort of like 15 minutes behind, like it was that bad. But obviously I was having like bad connection and computer issues then. But that's still pretty slow. I'm gonna test myself as well. I'm just gonna scribble a random.
You want me to tell you when I see it?
I just made a scribble, and I'll see.
Which side of it?
All over the drawing.
Oh,
See, I saw it in like 8 seconds.
Yeah, we're all
I'm
gonna
still
have
not
different.
seeing anything.
We're all gonna have different connections. It all depends where you are, what you're using, you know, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, about 10 seconds, mate. But yeah, it depends on where you are and the connection speed. Anyway, did you have any other questions for us?
I don't believe so. No. Oh, there it is.
All right then. Thank you for.
Holy.
It happens.
On to the next.
Yes, the top right hand. The only one left.
Yeah, unless you all in the chat have pictures that you want to send to us to critique.
Send us your pictures.
Ooh, nice breakdown of the action line, keep in case.
All right.
This
So
is a super cute picture.
this is by Bad Wolf, the Roman. Cool. Ballerina in Photoshop. Critique is welcome. I have no questions for us. Helps if I zoom in for the stream. Enhance. Oh, geez, what did I click? Okay, C apparently flips the entire canvas.
Yes, it does.
The pony's actually dancing. You're making it dance.
Wait, tap V over and over again. It's like they're spinning around. Just like, ooh.
This art truly just came alive.
Don't worry about us. We just slowly go insane.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Yeah. It's my prom here. Da. No, not even.
I'm gonna do a thing.
Julie, do the
I
thing.
was gonna do it.
I'm gonna do all the things.
That's a scary thought.
Let's have a little, just to make it a bit easier for our drawing overlay. You can turn it on and off as we need it. Oh, I did not mean to move the whole drawing. So yeah, I think what most of us are doing here is looking at sort of just building up the weight and shape of everything in the drawing. Just everything, what you've done is not by any means bad, but it's just a little bit like it could be built up more. You could really emphasize those curves just to get that lovely soft pony shape in there. Just really build up how the legs have this nice shape, how the sort of chin and face. Actually, I'm going to redo that eye. Yeah, I've built up more of the head. Yeah, it's fine. That's exactly how drawings are going to work a lot of the time. It's, you have a draft and then you work on building that up. Each time you go over it, you can expand a little bit. Like maybe I can make this hair have a little bit more weight to it. Maybe I can adjust this face so it's a little bit more balanced. and that's fine. That's part of the drawing process. The Living Dead is doing some really nice reworking of the background here, and that's a big drastic change from the original picture.
Yay, perspective.
Why didn't you talk us through this, LD?
So, if we look at how your pony is sitting in reference to, well, everything, we're going to use your pony as a subject because it's going to take about as much time to adjust the background as it will the pony. So we're going to use the pony. If we take that and figure out the perspective that she's actually standing at, we can see basically it goes directly behind her. Centered on her will be your vanishing point. And that will be somewhere right back here. No, I would think. That weird goldy brown dot that I placed. So if we take that point and we extrapolate the rest of the picture out, we can work from there to figure out how to build up the background. And the easiest way to do that is literally draw lines from it. And this becomes your vanishing point. So I've done that with this red all across here. And I've then taken your background and re-tilted it so it matches your vanishing lines. And with that, we get a much more consistent perspective going on. And if you don't have a consistent perspective, you get this sort of sickly image that happens where you look at it and go, what type of land of Oz am I dealing with here, where characters are on a different angle, or what is happening in this picture to cause the characters to be at a different angle?
Mm-hmm.
Hilariously easy to screw up. You'll see artists who have done it for 20 years still screw it up from time to time. Don't be discouraged if you get it wrong. Because it happens. It happens to all of us, and will happen to all of us over and over and over again.
Oh, yes.
Best way to correct it, though, is continuously ask, where's my vanishing point, and does this follow all my vanishing lines?
I will say eventually you will get to the point where you can just sort of work this out with your brain. You can just sort of have a better understanding of perspective and where characters are sitting. Like, a lot of the time, if you've seen our streams before, you will have seen us talk about perspective, and in particular, talk about the planes that characters are sitting on. So we'll do this. We're like, oh, here's where this character is I can't draw straight lines to save my life, but here's where this character is standing. You know, that goes with the perspective. Here's the base that they're standing on, and that helps us figure out where the character's facing, where these vanishing points are going. I don't honestly use that most of the time. 90% of the time I don't. I have occasionally used it before, but only when I'm really struggling and a picture's not working. So don't be afraid to recognize that you're struggling every once in a while, because it happens. But it is something that you build up, and eventually will just sort of become a bit more second nature to you. You will just be able to figure out how perspective works, and it will just come to you as you draw. But if that doesn't happen right away, don't be discouraged.
You got this.
Mm-hmm.
We got
We
this.
got this together.
Hey, Fluffy, can I just ask you
Yes.
one more thing with that picture you sent me?
Yes.
It looks
This
like...
is another, by the way.
Yeah. Side comment. That just seems to have like a white ghostly image hanging around the background. Like you have a...
Let me see. It might just be because of the screenshot.
Might be.
Let me. Where did Discord go? There it is. Okay. Yeah. What, are you talking about? Just like the checkered thing?
The checkered thing's normal for a PNG, but it's like white and ghostly on mine. Any chance you could just export that as a standard?
Yeah.
PNG?
I mean, all that was there was just a screenshot of the drawing program.
I'm just an idiot.
I just took a Gazo screenshot just to show you what it looked like.
I was erasing them like, my checkerboards are mostly lining up, but it's darker in color. What's going on here? Alright.
Oh, and Zamzam, we have a request. Want to draw with like his art from the Critique channel. Critique.
Absolutely can do that.
Wanna draw?
Wanna draw one or the one beneath it? Yeah, the wanna draw one, not Deluxe Flame. I will be downloading this. Wanna draw? You got any questions for us there, buddy? Thank you for updating art software right in the middle of my stream.
Don't you love it?
Convenience.
Bum, bum, bum. Whoops. Yeah. Okay. So as we asked, any questions on this picture in particular? Sorry, just had to shake fist at roommate. It's an important thing to do.
Grr.
So Wannadraw says everything looks weird, but I can't improve anything.
Hey, I don't think this is critique for this picture then. And hear me out here. I think the problem might be how you're breaking down the tools you're using. If you feel you aren't improving anything, you might be going at it the wrong way. So hear me out here. I want you to go grab your plethora of references again. And boy, oh boy, should you have a lot. Why? Because everyone should have a lot. I still have massive libraries of references. We have internet references. We have so many pictures that we love to stare at. Those are references too. I even got plushies here to pose for me every now and then. References, 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 references. Go grab your plethora of them. Sorry.
Side note, I always think it's funny. Someone in the MLPDS mentioned this the other day. They're like, I was trying to challenge myself by not using any references. It's not a challenge. It's not helping you at all. It's not, there's nothing that is, it's not, I know people do it. I did it because I'm showing off. Look what I did without help. But in reality, you're going to want help every step of the way. There's no shame in it. Every good artist gets that help. There is literally no crutch to references. It is, if you want to learn to draw something, it's like saying, I'm learning to ride a bike, but I'm going to try without handlebars this time. But you don't know how to ride the bike yet.
With no handlebars?
I can ride my bike with no handlebars.
No, not that song.
I don't get the reference. I don't think I've heard that.
It's
like flow by.
But
All right.
That was just a side tangent.
Yes. So how can you improve beyond just your references? Well, you're going to take those references and you're going to use them lovingly, use them not sparingly. You're going to break them down and you're going to attack art with great feverish madness. Don't spend long time drawing pictures. Draw a lot of pictures though. So what we mean by that is, you see what CPC is doing right now? You would end your picture at that rough sketch, and you go on to the next one with a different pose, and the next one, and the next one. And you keep changing up the pose and redoing it over and over until you get really comfortable with that anatomy. The only way you're going to pull it off is by doing it over and over and over. These rough thumbnail sketches that she's doing. Absolutely vital for trying to get a good, solid understanding of what you're drawing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, after a while, it'll become second nature for drawing it. It'll be like, this is how I attach the leg, this is how I attach the hip, and this is how they extend and retract, and if I bend the spine like this, I get this happy little smile.
And also, like, if you're having difficulties with a particular part, don't be afraid to just take that part and try drawing that part. Like, sometimes I have a lot of trouble with the back leg, so what I'll just do is focus on drawing the back leg and try spinning it and stretching it and making it move. And just so I don't have to focus of the, like, the whole pony, the whole pose, I'm focusing on the thing I have trouble with.
Yeah, definitely. I sometimes do that isolation as well, just because it just take it aside, experiment with it until you think you figured it out, then bring it over to the main drawing.
I know it always feels like a cop-out answer to just say, you gotta practice it, but sometimes it's a matter of stepping back and going back to basics and really practicing those fundamentals. Sometimes the fundamentals, are the thing that's holding us back because we all want to be ambitious and make this full picture and do something.
Yeah.
And we can. No one says you can't do that. But if you're having trouble improving and your goal is to improve, it might be time to step back and look at those as options to improve.
So, can we get you to draw, say, 10 thumbnail sketches of ponies in action?
Yeah, just like Kupensuke is doing. Just little poses.
And you could even do like some warm-ups of gestures of that action.
Or you could you could just do a bunch of random lines, take those as action lines, and see what sort of poses you can come up with from them.
Yeah.
It's like random curve here, going over this way, curving on this way. Now, what poses can I see from these lines? There's all sorts of little exercises you could do.
And don't be scared. Don't be afraid of screwing up, because wow, screwing up is the best way of improving too.
I think someone really cool in this chat said the other day that failure is a success because it shows you what you need to practice.
And I think something I said once was just like, failure is productive. Like you shouldn't be. The word failure is just so wrong when it comes to art because it's just not what it is. It's not in any way like I've messed up, I failed to do what I set out to do. Like, you might not have accomplished the actual picture you're trying to do, but you haven't yet finished. You shouldn't stop just because you didn't succeed on this one attempt. Like, it's just about going, like, using what you have drawn as a stepping stone, going away, learning from it, experimenting, coming back, trying again, doing it again and again until you do find an approach that works.
Like, if we really look into it, there is no way to fail at art. There is no wrong thing. But if you do not like what you're doing, you can have the ability to change. Sometimes that's changing in anatomy, bringing different styles into it. But it's never a failure. It's just acknowledging that you want to change.
Failure is only an option if you let yourself fail. I don't know. I think we're rolling around on our own.
Yeah. We're just fluffing ourselves at this point.
But so they understand anyway. So you are an awesome person, want to draw, and I hope that you continue to experiment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're gonna draw hundreds of hours, thousands of hours.
So
you're gonna eventually just use that productively. Like, it doesn't matter how long you draw, just as long as you are drawing and you're experimenting and you're looking at artists you like and you're trying things and just doing something new and just drawing in a way that feels right. Because doing the same thing the exact same way for 1,000 hours is not going to really help you improve much. Like, it's all about expanding.
You'll be able to do that one same thing really good, though.
Yeah. You'll have it down to to muscle memory, but it might not be the right way of doing it.
So I think that's it, unless anyone else has any last things to throw. Oh, there we go. We got another one.
Ooh.
If you guys could, I appreciate if you could give me some critique on this one I've been working on. Save an image. I have some critique offhand. Where's my horse? Where's my... let me just get this into the right folders. Where did I put my critique folder? What? Oh. Just being a dummy.
I will be right back.
I've been some already. Hey, Allie.
Yeah.
If you go to our subreddit now, on both the phone and the web application, we have a new icon.
That's dope.
Oh my goodness. Look at that. Look at that.
I want to see the icon.
Go to reddit.com.
/MLP. Oh, it's like a r/.
Yeah, you'll have to use the... If you have yours set in the old browser format, you'd have to actually switch to the new Reddit.
You might have to link me.
Uh, 3,000. Keep aspect ratio.
Boom.
4,000.
Look at that cutie patootie face.
I wonder who drew that for us.
They could possibly be Fluffy and the Zai.
Right. Nah, it was Ardale.
All right there. You're right there, Fluffy.
Yes, sorry. I hope that wasn't too loud. I was just
No.
turning my mic volume back up, which I turned off when I left the room so that I wasn't making noise.
We were just talking about you and your patootie fine line.
Oh my god. So what have we said so far about this?
Absolutely nothing.
It's cute.
We just
Oh my
posted
gosh.
as we step back.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you have any questions offhand for us on this picture? On hand, not offhand. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! You guys should go look at the Aggie.
There's an Aggie?
There's an Aggie.
Yep. Secret Aggie.
Oh my god. I just spotted that.
There
We
is
haven't had one in so long.
much.
Where can I get it? What's the...
It's just above.
Yeah.
Strange posted it.
I
I,
found
there it
it.
They are up to madness.
I have to wait for it to load first. Also, I'm using a different browser and I don't know how Aggie is going to respond to this, but we'll see.
Carefully.
Because it was like really picky. I had to use Edge for it before, I think, and then I think I found a way to make Chrome work. Oh my god, this is crazy.
BFC.
I miss
KT,
our
I know.
Aggies.
That's what's happening here.
Beautiful. That's what
They are three amazing people and amazing artists.
You can tell CPC hasn't been in yet because not everything's fluffed.
Do not fluff my reed.
Alright, potential red. Of course, still no questions about what's going on here.
Okay.
Oh, we got another critique after this one by Shalon Wolf. Hey, I know that person, or at least that icon. What is a web P? What? Potential red? Buddy? Do you have any questions about your picture we're trying to critique for you?
distracted by ponies, I hope.
Silly getting distracted. How dare you?
Well, I would like it on the mangroves. Can we actually shut off
Those
that?
are plants, right?
Yeah, they're the ones
Yeah,
on the right.
Oh, okay.
over here.
LG gave me some amazing critique on trees once when I had a digital painting.
What was the
Maybe he
critique
has
I
some
gave?
for this.
I forget the critique I gave you.
For me, it was making the leaves, the trees, sort of like slightly varying colors so they stand apart.
Oh yeah,
So that might work here as well, I think.
differentiation by colors.
I think something else that'll help is some hard edges, like to really distinguish like groups of leaves from each other instead of just being one big blob.
Yeah.
Some really nice hard contrasting edges.
If you go look at Calvin and Hobbes, they do a great job of creating blobs of trees while differentiating them in the simplest way. Oh yeah, I do remember that one. It was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, princess.
Actually, kind of is. A long time ago, I drew this picture, and it's on a different planet, so...
So grab your green dripper and just start abusing that throughout the color wheel. Because if you go look at a set of trees, holy cow, the differentiation based on even two leaves beside each other are going to be slightly different shades of green. Now you don't have to paint every leaf, and please do not paint every leaf. Never paint every leaf. But bodies of color change. And you've done a pretty good job starting it up here. Like, you've done lighter up. Oh my gosh. Yellow on green abuse here. You started some nice light colors up here, and then you got some dark blobbiness going on here. But we can also start hue shifting that a little bit. Hue shifting. So we can get some, like, blues into there and some yellows into that. Because they'll change in that.
Yeah, and especially since it's like a dark, stormy scene, you're gonna really want to push your darks because there's not a lot of light going through. So use the darks instead to push instead of giving those nice bright highlights.
Yeah, actually, now that you mention it, Ellie, your contrast is way too bright here. You're gonna amp that, or stamp down that saturation. Is this safe for only... Yes, only safe for work. If you're questioning if it's safe for work, you can PM it to one of us, and we will tell you if we believe it's okay for our sub, or our thingy.
And if it's not, you're always welcome to join our Discord. We have a not safe for work section for any pieces that would fall into that category.
Yeah. We should probably name that better, but we haven't ever got around to that because it hasn't been a problem. So if we open up our Clip Studio Paint... Oh, I don't want your news from Wimbledon.
Celsius.
Thunk. Alright. Anyone on the Picarto can see this thing. We're just gonna go ahead and abuse some of the layers on it. So we're gonna go ahead and duplicate this layer, and we're gonna hide this one so I non-destructively edit this. And we're gonna go ahead and start some selection changes. Where is my options? Where did I put them? I swear stuff moved on me. There it is. Brightness contrast, we're going to start out. We're going to drop that brightness a little bit. Drop the contrast way down. Oop, oop, whoop, whoop. Wrong way. Yeah. Yeah. Drop the brightness. Yeah. 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 Oh. And then we're... Yeah. These are words.
You're right there.
All technical terms, really.
All technical terms. Yeah, so we've increased the saturation, or decrease the saturation, increase the contrast. So your darks are darker, your brights should technically be brighter, but the only points still show up is this white here. And it's really helped change the tone of the picture that's going on here. Then we can go ahead and transform it a little bit more and change. Where's my tool option there? Okay, apparently it dropped my tooltip for that. Oh, it's on a different screen. That's where I want it. We don't need to hue shift, but we do want to desaturate. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. And voila. With some minor modifications, we really turned this into an angry dark storm hanging around. Your trees fade off into the darkness now a bit more. Your waves, they definitely need more contrast hanging in there, and I would suggest adding some bright highlights to the rocks, but that type of modification will really help push this picture quite a bit further. And we're going to need some stuff to help differentiate the sky from the sea, because we end up with this foggy ugliness hanging on. One sec, something's buzzing at me. Oh, never mind, nothing important.
And I see like in the horizon line, I almost feel like I see some sky after the clouds, so maybe that could help break it up, that you see a little sky back there. But yeah, right now it's very much blended between the sky and sea.
Popping a badass God ray through there.
Sparkle, sparkle.
Someone just leave a bunch of blue on. Oh, who did what? People are graffitiing. Never mind. It's fine. It's fine.
I didn't graffiti nothing.
It's all good.
You're talking about the Maggie or Aggio?
Yeah, the Aggie. It's all good.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the
Who threw the fluffy laser?
me.
Fluffy lasers
Yeah, I
are
was
important.
no comment at lewd.
It's not lewd. Don't be silly.
I didn't know what it was.
I highly suggest everyone go look at this Aggie. You are able to join in, but it looks like a lot of the room has been taken, so you're going to be drawing really small. Because fun, small images are fun.
Yeah, that was mainly my fault.
Alright, we have another picture by Oakenshield, or their new name, Shaolin Wolf? I'll never keep track of usernames.
You guys have it on your screen. That's great.
That's too big. Canvas resize in time.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna go up to 6,000. Oh no! Oh no!
What is happening here?
Not to get a big canvas.
I broke stuff. No, it's good. It allows you to resize it without accepting the resize.
Oh, okay.
Okie doke.
Wait, what happened?
Don't worry. I was just about to break some stuff. It's all good.
How could you, Obi?
Okay, so Oakenshield or Shaolin Wolf. Shaolin Shield. Any questions about this for us? Oh my gosh, it's adorable. We even got reflections. Whoever they got to wax those lockers. Dang.
This is a really nicely painted picture. I love it.
If the ballerina person, Bad Wolf, the man, is there, look at this perspective. We got perspective wonderful here. Twilight can have a little correction, but this horse right here wins the perspective awards because its perspective is matching with these two, and it's great. Which is matching
already
with
good.
all the balcony or stuff hanging around.
Ooh. Talking of perspective, one small thing I would change. Actually, I'm just going to turn the fade layer back on, just so that we can see things a little bit better. I feel like if you moved the leg, move this back leg a little bit, firstly, that would create a slightly better perspective if you were able to sort of really push that in Twilight. But additionally, you can push that behind her foreleg here and really emphasize the overlap, and that really helps you to show, hey, this leg is in front of this leg. The fact that it just barely dodges the overlap sort of makes it a bit confusing to the brain, I think. But just push her hindquarters sort of back a little bit, just to really emphasize it's getting smaller with the camera getting further away.
Right now, it does look like she's walking off towards the into the lockers.
Yeah.
Twilight, are you drunk?
You want her to be this sort of way.
You did make the jaw disappear with an anime style mouth. Anime mouths are completely fine, but you've done like a hybrid of the two, and it, in my personal opinion, it didn't work because you've lost the entire jaw to it. The bottom of her mouth became the bottom line of the head, and that doesn't quite make sense when you have this much detail hanging around. So I would draw in the rest of the jaw, even if it's a thin little thing, that's fine. She's a little filly, it's freaking adorable, but losing the bottom of the jaw becomes like some type of zombie-like thing. Oh, the little scrunch.
Yeah, that's really adorable.
Mm-hmm.
This picture's very adorable.
Also, can I say I really love like how you've done the reflection, the fact that it's a very simplistic, like you've sort of gotten rid of the outline, and it looks like I can see there's a reflection of a pony here, but it's all very blurred and just messy. I do feel it looks a bit more like you've literally just like gotten rid of the outline, except for the saddlebags, as LD is pointing out. I would advise just cleaning up the colors just a little bit.
And possibly to reverse the image, because she would reflect her other side of her body, and this is the same side.
Yeah. It would be sort of a slightly different perspective. The hardest thing about reflections is oftentimes you really can't just like copy paste and even reflect the image. For example, if a character was, I'll just do some doodling at the side a little bit quick. Won't let me draw. Okay, here we go. Ooh, my bad. If oh God, I'm messing everything up today. Sorry. If you have a person, it's gonna be sort of hard to show with just like a stick figure, but
You want me to draw it a little over his eye? Sometimes doesn't have it in frame.
Yeah. I'll draw it on the picture. It's fine.
There we go.
Okay.
I zoomed out. Everything's in frame now.
Well, okay, cool. So hey, here's a person. Actually, you know what? I'll do this as a pony, just so it makes more sense. Here's a pony. Cool. Yay. And they're standing here. Awesome. And so they're standing on. That's terrible back leg. Ignore that back leg. That's horrible. They're standing on a puddle or something. Let's draw this way. Oop, screw it. Just so I have some visible room here. So we're gonna they're gonna have a reflection, but it's not gonna be just exactly the drawing, the same drawing upside down. What it's gonna be is we're seeing the underside of them. So here's their chest, and then they're gonna have a head here, but we're seeing sort of like the chin. We're seeing like the underside. Also, I should have this flipped upside down. There we go. So it's like cool. We're seeing everything from a different perspective, as if it was more. We're seeing it more from underneath, because that's sort of where the light is bouncing to us. So here's the chin, cool, and then there's their little back, and they've got their leg goes like this. But we're seeing like the underbelly. Oh, there it is. You know, so because it's a different perspective, we're seeing from underneath. If that makes sense. So I don't know how much you need to bother doing that with this Twilight one. It might work just to sort of flip it a little bit, but you might find that flipping it will have a reflection going a completely different angle. So it's sort of just a case of mirroring. I mean, you've already done this with the legs, I can see, actually, come to think of it. I hadn't noticed that before, but yeah, you got the legs sort of flipped the correct way. But it's just making sure things like that, like we're seeing it from the other side, and we're seeing it sort of as we would see a reflection.
further suggestion there. Don't go as detailed in the reflection. Unless if these are like mere polished lockers, which is very odd because every locker I've seen, even the nice laminate ones, the reflection's dull at best. Use that to your advantage. Yes, having them reflect in it is great, but instead of putting all this detail in there, blob of color, boom, done.
This pony's also not reflected.
That one in particular, we can just blob of color. So if hopefully that reflection's a different layer, take that and just blur it, and it should be good enough. You will want to correct the mane and just flip the butt, and that'll be fine.
Oh, and it's a small detail, but what you can do is where you have like the squares of this locker, you can take each little section, where you've got this reflection, hopefully it's on a separate layer or a bunch of layers that are hopefully in a layer folder or can be put in one. So you can use a layer mask and just take sort of like an edge around the inside of these lines here for each little panel. It's like, oh, it's so hard. No, not to choose color. I can't get it back. Just like a little thin sort of like edge on the inside that's just cut out. So we're not seeing this. So then that will sort of create a nice little bit of a 3D gap where sort of there's a tapered edge to the door, just so it doesn't look like completely flat. Because it could work as it is. As long as you've got the lines there, you're showing there's a gap between these panels. But it's just like, it might be a nice little detail to experiment with, to try cutting out the reflection just along these lines inside the panels, just to help show that there's a bit of 3D shape to these doors. It might be worth experimenting. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I just thought it'd be an interesting idea.
I think it would definitely be helpful because it also make the lockers feel less flat, seeing like extra.
Yeah, that's sort of what I was thinking.
Highlights and yeah.
You could also take that a step further, and you could take that sort of edge, the edge around each door, and then use maybe like a gradient from a slightly lighter color of the door to a slightly darker color of the door to make it sort of have a bit of a shade to it. If we had gradient tools on here, I would demonstrate. We don't.
So limited in this program.
Yeah. Unless I just quickly do something on Clip Studio and then bring it over. Actually, I'll try that. Oh, someone disconnected. Okay. Actually, yeah, I can just doodle this quickly in Clip Studio and I'll just shove it in. Here is a color. Doop-a-doop. And I'm going to shrink that selection. Actually. Ah. Bit more than that. 1 sec, I'm just messing with selections and shears. Okay, that's cool. There we go. So slightly lighter, slightly darker. Gradient. Whoop. Boom. Okay. Actually, I'll just emphasize that a little bit. Okay. Copy. Paste. So you do something like this, just like with that little edge, you could just experiment to, oh hey look, this is a bit of a 3D shape to it. That's just a really simple way of doing a 3D shape. It might not be good for sort of photorealism, but it can work. That's just sort of what I meant anyway. Everyone is very quiet.
Dun dun dun.
Also, in this moment of quiet, if anyone else has art that they would like
Yes.
critiqued, please feel free to throw that at our faces. If not, or if there's any questions either for art stuff, we can try do that answering thing. Otherwise, might be the end after this. Dun, dun, dun.
It's over.
Awesome. So, any last words for this piece?
Pony.
Pony indeed.
Pony. Swag.
Ponies, swag.
Ponies. May you submit a second? Do you have any other questions for it that we didn't answer on your previous one? Because shotgun and critique doesn't tend to work for people. But I mean, you could throw it into the chat just for us to look at and go, "Ooh, that's pretty," because we do like
And
pretty
you're
pictures
totally
of horses.
And totally feel free to throw it in the critique channel itself. You can throw in limited things in there for critique.
Hello, horse. Wow, don't say that, Allie. Someone's gonna spam their entire library.
You know what? That's true. I think we've had some. Didn't someone submit their entire portfolio to critique once?
Yes. Yes, we told them no. Bad pony. So despite what Allie said, don't do that.
Within reason. I guess I put too much faith in the internet.
Yeah, that's always the mistake. Alright, then I think that's it. Thank you all for coming. And we will see you again next week.
Well, bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
I always said stuff.